we always seem to be faced with this either or possibilities as mom. I know I did when I had children, like, oh, you can't do political work if you're going to have kids, or, immediately as soon as I had a child, it was like you're annexed from this sector of society. Well, now you're in this category. A lot of labels and judgment, if you will, prejudgment, really. And that had never been the way. I was always a very big multitasker. But, how do we combat this either or? Like, is it true? And sometimes I feel like one can never do both things equally, and I know we touched upon that, but how do we get away from that either or, and how can women kind of change their mindset? Well, this is the goal I want. How can I work around that?
It requires a willingness to define success for yourself. So that is the one hand. And how do you do that? It's part gut, instinct. It's part looking at lives of other people that perhaps you admire and kind of taking bits and pieces and exploring, like, wow, they seem to have a great marriage. What does that mean? Oh, wow, she really seems to be relaxed under pressure. How does she do that? Like, literally the same way that I would design a room, you can design your potential life. And so it requires you to burn the boxes, so to speak, that I think are comfortable for women to put themselves in. I'm a working mom, or I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm a homeschooling mom. And what if instead you create your own box, or you burn them all together and you just simply say, this is what success looks like for me, and then it's blinders up. And you're just like, this is, in consultation with your husband and, with trusted people, you have to have that confidence that this is what success is going to look like for me. The flip side of that is being okay to be misunderstood.
Okay.
I think that was a really hard piece, because I didn't want people to think that I was somehow not showing up well for my children. I didn't want people to think that I was selfish, or I was, sort of self-serving, and that I wasn't being a good helpmate to my spouse. Like, I didn't want people to think that of me. So I was very tempted to then fit that mold, fit that box, that people would then sort of accept that, oh, okay, look, she's good. She's doing those things because this is how she's behaving. I do think that if we're going to have the courage to define success for ourselves, then we have to also be able to have the perseverance, I guess, or the humility, to be honest, to say there are going to be people who might judge me and might actually misunderstand me, but I'm actually pretty okay with that because they're not living my life. And so it is, I'll be honest with you, it is, I think, why I'm so passionate about mindset work. I now do a lot of mindset coaching, a lot of business coaching and mindset related, obviously, in business, for moms who want to build things like wealth without guilt, who want to mother without guilt. I think the enormous strain that moms put on themselves is a very modern concept. We do not live this way in generations before who were raising 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 kids on a farm. They were not having conversations about work-life balance.
That's correct. Right. I think of the early, say, Ukrainian peasant settlers here. They had a baby on their back and they were working the fields. Like, you just did what needed to be done.
And everybody did it. It was a collective effort. And this is something that I explore so much in my work. I have a feeling it'll be a future book. Just this idea of what does it look like to pursue work and motherhood in an integrated way, in a non-binary way, because the reality is that's the anthropology that we came from. And that is so much of a mindset we can choose.
Right. Yeah, it's true, because there are really hardened camps on both sides. And, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but a few years ago, I kind of had this sudden foray into the political world. And I was shocked by people that I thought would be supportive who said, you have no business running. You're a mother with young children. And I thought, hello, are you kind of following what's going on here? And then I had folks on the other side, well, you have no business running because, you really ought to just stay home. And that's your foray. You have no business because you have kids. And so it was, from both sides, it's like you couldn't win. So I think this idea of really shutting out the naysayers, or just being focused on what you need to do, that you're not living life for others, but really living it for yourself and your goals, that's an important thing.
It requires discernment. It requires this ability to internally process, emotionally process. It requires a tremendous amount of humility.
Okay, I'm
And
going to pause you there just because we have to go to commercial and I want to expand on that in a few moments.